Before we get started, don't look at those comments. You need your ears for this. So, can you tell the difference between 4 guitars in a blind jazz guitar shootout? We have an archtop in a Gibson Super 5, we have a thin line in a Gibson ES 335, we have Fender's take on a jazz guitar, which is the American original Fender Jazzmaster, and also we have a Telecaster with a Creamery Charlie Christian style neck pickup. All of the guitars are running through a 68 reissue Princeton with a touch of reverb, and the EQ left the same for every guitar. The Super 5, Gibson's blingy take on the L5, ought to win, right? Now there's a little twist, and just for good measure, I've added a 5th row guitar. A guitar that I imagine no one's ever tried to play jazz on before. So you're now going to hear the 5 different guitars, and I want you to try and discern which is which, and which is your favourite, and see if when I do the big reveal whether anything changes for you. Guitar 2. Guitar 3. Guitar 4. And guitar 5. So, you've heard the 5 guitars, let's reveal which was which. Guitar number 1 was the Fender Telecaster. This is with the Creamery Charlie Christian neck pickup. Now, this guitar means a lot to me. I bought this off the factory floor at Fender in Corona, and even got to pick the neck and then see it go through its final assembly. Tone-wise, I find it really easy to dial in a jazz tone with that neck pickup. The all rosewood neck is a real joy to play. It's the most comfortable Fender neck I've ever played. So that was guitar 1. Guitar number 2 was the Super 5, what for me is the quintessential jazz tone. Now, I'm all for thinking that when it comes to playing jazz, you can play it on anything. But when it comes to getting authentic jazz tone, I don't think you can really beat the full sound that you get from a hollow body from that archtop. Now, this is my main gigging guitar. It has quite a bright sound compared to others that I've played, and I like that. I don't like a completely dull jazz tone. This cuts above other instruments really well in a gig or recording situation. Guitar number 3 was the Rogue guitar. Be fascinated to know whether you could easily spot this amongst the other guitars. Now, if you thought it sounded a bit Strat-like, you're not wrong. It was my son's Squire Mini Strat in Dakota Red, or is it Fiesta Red? I'm not sure. It was obviously on the neck pickup, and I think it sounded okay. How did you think it fared against those other guitars? Obviously, it's a bit strange to play, not being a full-size guitar for me, but it sounded fine. And guitar number 4 was the ES 335. As a teenager, my main guitar was an Epiphone Sheraton, so I've always had a soft spot for these style of guitars. Now, this particular model is a 63 reissue from 2013. It's a long story, but this is actually the second time I've owned this guitar. And finally, guitar number 5 was obviously the Jazzmaster, and I did use the rhythm circuit for that to try and yield the best jazz tone. So now you know which is which. I'd be fascinated to know which one you think gives the best jazz tone, whether you identified any of them correctly or whether there were any surprises for you. Now, jazz tone in itself, it's very subjective. Some of you will prefer a real dark, mellow tone, others on the brighter side. I know I tend to have something that cuts through a mix or live on a stage. Anyway, thank you for checking out my video. If you're new here, please consider subscribing, hit that like button, check the description for a link to my Patreon page where I do a deep dive with a jazz standard each month. Until next time, you take care.